Reflet d'Afrique Télévision, le Flash Info, The Breaking News.
There are a total of 5,087 students in Cameroon's far north region, with about 900 in the Adamawa region and more than 1,300 in the north of Cameroon. We risk missing the first cycle study of the General Certificate of Examinations, the GCE, because of the delay in submitting registration files. The Cameroonian Minister of Secondary Education, Pauline Nalova-Lyonga, had instructed the Deputy Director of Examinations and Competitions of his ministerial department to put an end to the reception of the files of lagging students from the far north, as well as those of the Adamawa and North regions. It was during a meeting held on Thursday, April 15 in Yaoundé that the instructions was given. The decision was implemented immediately by the Deputy Director of Examinations and Competitions of the Ministry of Secondary Education. This brought consternation within the educational community and families, a situation which greatly concerned the President of the Far North Regional Council, Daniel Kalabasu, who confided that he had made contact with the officials of the Ministry of Secondary Education to remedy the situation. For him, the issue of education is one of the priorities of their team. They had a meeting with the different education sectors so that an indulgence could be granted to these students. To this end, in view of the grievances of each other, Pauline Nalova-Lyonga has reconsidered her decision. In a note sent on April 19, 2021 to the delegates of secondary education in the three northern regions, she informed that, in view of their request for examinations under the Direction of Examinations, Competitions and Certification, the registration of said candidates will take place exceptionally from April 19 to 27, 2021. The death of President Idriss Déby Itno, who has been in power for 30 years and was a key Western partner against jihadists in the Sahel, has opened a period of uncertainty in Chad, where rebels have vowed to march on the capital N'Djamena. A transitional military council, the TMC, chaired by General Mohamed Idriss Déby, 37, son of the late president, until then head of the feared Presidential Guard, the regime's Praetorian Guard, has dissolved the government and National Assembly. The TMC vowed that new institutions would emerge after free and democratic elections in a year and a half. Mohamed Idriss Déby appointed the 15 generals who make up the CMT. In this decree signed by the son of the late president, the names of 14 generals known to be among the most loyal to the head of state are added to his own. The rebels, who have been leading an offensive against the Chadian region for 9 days, have promised to march on N'Djamena and categorically rejected this military council. We intend to continue the offensive, said Kingabe Ugozemi de Tapol, spokesman for the Front for Change and Concord in Chad, the fact. The national funeral of Idriss Déby Itno, who died on Monday according to the presidency, will take place on Friday in N'Djamena. White policeman Derek Chauvin was convicted on Tuesday of the murder of George Floyd, a victory for justice according to the family of the black man, whose homicide last year in Minneapolis has become a symbol of police brutality against minorities in the United States of America. After 3 weeks of a high-tension trial in this city in the north of the United States, the 12 jurors of various ethnic origins who had been deliberating since Monday concluded that the accused was guilty of the 3 charges against him. Already dismissed from the police, the 45-year-old agent featuring masks on his face did not show any particular emotion at the wording of the verdict. Immediately handcuffed, he was taken into custody. Judge Peter Cahill will hand down his sentence in 8 weeks. Derek Chauvin faces 12.5 years in prison, but his sentence could be extended if the magistrate concludes that there are aggravating circumstances. Just before dying at the age of 46, George Floyd had repeatedly shouted, "I can't breathe," a complaint that has become a global slogan against racism and law enforcement abuses. In a speech, Joe Biden denounced the racism that taints the soul of America. The guilty verdict will not bring George back, but this decision may be the time for significant change, he added. The president had earlier phoned the family of George Floyd. Gunmen have abducted a number of students from a university in the northern Nigerian state of Kaduna. The police spokesperson in the state, Muhammad Jalige, confirmed the abduction to the press, saying many students were kidnapped from their dormitories. But he said a head count was still going on to determine the actual number of students. The victims included male and female students, he added. The gunmen stormed the Greenfield University on the outskirts of Kaduna City overnight on Tuesday, April 20th, and opened fire. Kidnappings for ransom by armed criminal gangs have increased in recent months in Nigeria, with more than 800 students abducted since December. Most of them have been released after negotiations with the gunmen, but 29 students kidnapped last month from a forestry college are still in captivity. Teachers have also been targeted in the attacks.
Reflet d'Afrique Télévision, le Flash Info, the Breaking News.